Hello, Will Perry here. Welcome to another day of keeping the conversation alive. If you haven't subscribed already, you can subscribe to the daily emails to receive these videos on email. How convenient is that? Today, most people think that there's something wrong with them, which is a travesty, but a travesty of our time. That's why I say, coined the phrase, generation trapped. We are so consumed by what we see are the surface problems, i.e. these things, that we don't see, and we're not being shown and led. People aren't shining the light on what the problem is, the real problem, because most people don't deal with that stuff. Most people don't know, and that's what's taken me 13 years to get to the bottom of it. Because guess what? I was struggling with these things, and it was like, come on, I'm in the field of professional development. I'm a coach. I help people. I want to help people, but I'm stuck. Why am I stuck? And I want to explain how curiosity can help you transform your life. Let's get cracking. I love that. So most people think there's something wrong with them. And I explain more of that in my webinar. I'll give you the details of that webinar. I just did a half-an-hour webinar to keep it really short and succinct and compact, because I know time is precious in these days when we surf and look at lots of people dancing and rubbish on. I can spend hours on TikTok. That's why I had to delete it. I got it back because I was putting some videos on it now, but it's like anyway. Distractions, exactly, distractions. So actually, condensing something down to half an hour, and hopefully making it so that it captures your attention for that half an hour. That's quite a task these days. Anyway, most people think there's something wrong with them, and life becomes quite predictable when you think there's something wrong with them, because when you think there's something wrong with them, that limits you. That's like blinkers on a horse, you can't go there, you can't go there, because you're not aware of it. You can't see that. All you can see is straightforward. So that's the way you go. Life becomes quite predictable. There's a predictable future exercise that we do on the program, which is you might have come across before. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but if life is predictable, if life has been predictable, if you know what's gone before, then you know what's going to come in your future, unless you do something to change it. But what we do is we make these little incremental changes on the problem without changing the real issue, the real problem on the inside, which we're mostly not aware of. So that's what I've been so curious about and tenacious about, yet what's bugged me for so long. And I feel I've got to that level. Anyway, we don't realise where the problem lies. And the analogy for me is like diagnosis. If you've got a car and you've got a problem with it, the diagnosis can absolutely be the key issue. Sometimes they've got these plug-in things and the computer tells you where the issue is. That's cool. If it's I'm thinking about my car now. I've got a few issues with my car I need to sort. So which sensor it is on the parking sensors? I know it just beeps when it comes near a car. It goes beep, like fault. I just turn it off because it's like, oh, I know it's broken one of the sensors out, but it trips up all of them. If they plug it in, they'll say, oh, which exact sensor it is. That's the diagnostic tool. Cool. With mine, it's what it takes, that diagnostic tool. A, somebody having it. B, somebody being in the know, and diagnosing it properly, reading the instrument properly. So you need to take it to a specialist, because a normal person that deals with my sort of car, they wouldn't know the ins and outs, the shortcuts, the intricacies of them. So you go to a specialist of your particular car. And there's different types of specialists and everything. But what the specialist will do, will use a specialist equipment to read and then interpret it with their knowledge to tell you what the fault is and maybe what the way around it is. So I know about cars because I've been brought up in the industry. I've worked in things, but only to a certain level. I'm no expert at all. But I do like to understand things. That's my MBTI type. I'm ESFP. So I like to know the detail. That's my sensing side. It's step by step. I like the detail. I like to understand step by step how things work. So what have I had? I've had a gearbox flush. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? I've had a gearbox flush because I had this shunting thing, and I had the speedometer that was going like that, fluctuating ever so slightly on the motorway on a constant throttle. And I thought, what is that? That's something going on. And I saw on the group, there's a group chat for my car, and it was like, oh, this is the torque converter that's going out. I was like, oh, bugger, how much does a torque converter cost? It was like, oh, just under 1,000. Oh, right. oh bugger. And I spoke to somebody who was an expert at them, and he said, oh, has it done a lot of trailer work? And it's like heavy trailer work. It's a Land Rover, and it's like no, and it's like, oh, okay. So it rattled around in my head. So it might not be that. Then I came across in the forum again about gearbox flushing, helping with that issue, and if it's over 100,000 miles, which mine is. Painting a good picture of my car, and it's like, okay, so get the flush. So I got the flush because it could sort out these issues, particularly the dunk that it makes sometimes when you take off from. Anyway, this I don't want to bore you, but this is the whole point about diagnosis. If you know a certain amount, you think you can diagnose, but actually you're diagnosing incorrectly. Because when the guy got in there, he said, "Oh yeah, you shouldn't get that shunt anymore." Did a lovely guy did a flash on the ECU as well, so update the gearbox software as well as flushing out the old oil and everything, and I can feel the difference. It's awesome. But when he was in there, he's actually found that the prop shaft has got a bit of wobble on it. It's more than a bit actually. It's quite warm. So the prop shaft needs replacing. It's not going to explode or anything, but it's just causing a bit of a knock. And then it's like, oh Christ! But then I dived into Google, found out about that, and diagnosed that sort of stuff. But then that actually doesn't cause a knock. So it's like, the knock is solved by the gearbox flush and the update, which the gearbox guy said the prop shaft's going to anyway. So the people that know about certain things, even though they're expert in their thing, might not know about the interconnection of the next thing. Does that make sense? Because I looked on somebody who'd changed their prop shaft, took a video of the prop shaft and said, I can actually not tell that it's doing the movement that it's doing. There's no vibrations. They videoed it. They said, wow, I'm shocked. I don't know how long it's been doing this. And they changed it and they couldn't tell any difference, but they knew it was working properly. So the shunt I was getting, the dunk, the knock, was from the gearbox. And that's fixed now, which is awesome. But another example, all right, my tyres are worn on the inside. I thought it was just tracking because the tyres at the back need tracking as well as the front need tracking. But the guy that went underneath, he said, oh, I think your wishbones need replacing. That's probably where you're getting the wear on the inside bit, why it's wearing so much on the inside. He's like, I didn't even think about that. I understand it, but I didn't even think about it because my knowledge is only up to this level. All I want to paint a picture of, rather than bore you about cars, I want to paint the picture that the diagnosis, if you have a certain level of awareness, a certain level of knowledge, it can keep you trapped, if you like. It's a bit like those blinkers. So it's interesting that your knowledge might hold you back. Does that make sense? So, you can build a picture once you dive in. And what you have to do is stay curious about this stuff. All right. Most people won't do this work. Right? God, I'm hot. So excuse me. I've just done exercise. Hot. So most people won't do this. Most people won't be open enough to finding out that it's actually not them, that they're actually not broken. Because people think, oh, that's it, I'm broken, I can't fix that, I can't do anything about that, I'm blinkered. But it's not. You've got to stay curious, because actually then you see, oh, just a minute, I'm not actually broken, but I thought I was broken. So if I'm not broken, but I think I'm broken, how can I change that then? So, and that's what you need to do. But most people won't do that. And what it is, it's a combination of coaching that you need. But coaching just asks questions, pure coaching, just asks questions from you. But that will only help so much when you've got blinkers on. So you need to go beyond the blinkers, but you don't know what's beyond the blinkers. So that can help in a certain way. But actually, you need to be told stuff, particularly in the field that I'm working in. So this will cause this will cause that will cause that. What are you experiencing? If you're experiencing that, right, that means that. So try this, do that, do that, do that. This, does that resonate? Does that resonate? So a bit more pushing back. So giving you some information, giving you a pathway to follow. So on what I do with the specialisms that I found out and worked on, and the diagnostic tools that I've used, is that it's a combination of pulling from you, coaching, absolutely, but it's also a bit of mentoring, it's a bit of pushing and saying, this is how you could do it, this is how you can get over this next hurdle. And to do that, to get to that point, you need to be light and curious. Because if we're all serious and down, and it's Gabor Mate, his inquiry process. I can't remember it, but it was like, oh gosh, that's really similar to my light and curious, and I get that from NLP. Light, not heavy, because when we're down and negative about ourselves, I must stop. If we're negative about ourselves, it becomes quite serious, and when you're serious, you're definitely not light, and when you're serious, you tend not to be curious. So I engender a state on the program where you'll actually step back of it, stay light and curious. What else? What could be causing this? What could, because if you're light about it, you're more, and that's why I use humor in the program a lot. It's a very different state from getting stuck and blinkered like this. So light and curious is so important. Positive inquiry. I think Gabor Mate called his positive. So light and curious. That's the basis of the program. Come and find out. Come and find out if this is resonating with you. Come and find out. It's a year-long program, the pathway that I've created. It's online with live sessions within that, coaching and accountability sessions within that. It's the only one I know of this kind. You can do retreats. Gabor Mate, you could go and do a retreat with him with hallucinogenic drug, and I'm sure that's restricted as well at the moment. But what an experience, But only a few will be able to do that. Many can do this. And I'm not being arrogant by comparing myself with him, by the way. But it's working the same or very similar specialism as that, which that's why I love it. Love his work. So come and find out if you want. It's all explained in the webinar. So my invitation to you. What am I doing? 11 minutes. My invitation to you is come and explore the webinar. Come and explore. Be light and curious. See what might be beyond the blinkers that you have. And we all have them. But see what might be beyond that for you. Take the test. It starts with the test. If you have 15 or lower, then this is absolutely for you. That means you have these blinkers on. It's not your fault. You've done nothing wrong. And you can go beyond them. You just need to be light and curious enough. Curious enough to look at the information. Curious enough to see what life is going to be like, what life is predictably going to be like for you. That's your future behind me. What your future is going to be like given what your past has been. And then if you don't change anything, you can predict what it's going to be like. Because unless anything changes, you're still going to have those blinkers on. You're still going to think you're broken. There's something wrong with you. You're not good enough. Life is predictable for you. So it all starts with a test. Then the webinar, and then a conversation with us to see how this can work for you. So all explained in the webinar. I'll put the link to the test because that's the starting point around here. If you've taken the test already, take it again, and then you'll get the links automatically for the webinar. Hope that makes sense. Many thanks. Speak to you soon. I hope you have a great weekend, because this is Friday as I record this now, but I hope you're having a great day, and speak to you soon. Lots of love. Loves you, boy. Bye-bye.